All right, we have a new guest on the line. We have our special guest, JJ Harris from Mini Trencher. That is Geo Ripper. You know him from back in the day. He is the OG, the Duck. He used to be on the station, well, the other station, as we say, but not on not on Boots on Ground. For the first time, bringing him back on Boots on Ground. He is one of the rebels, though, one of the insurrectionists, the party people that we have all the time. Here he is, JJ Harris, Boots on Ground Radio, the first time Mini Trencher, Geo Ripper, and SiBore. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I did want to start it out with what the heck.
What the duck. for those cheers, brother. Cheers. For those who have listened long enough to my other shows and for his shows, you know what the reference is. If you don't, it's all good. We'll explain it to you later. But thank you for joining me. You are the general manager of Mini Trencher / GeoRipper / SiBore. We are gonna let's start off with the GeoRipper side of this thing. Give for our newest listeners. Give us a little bit of overview of the history of GeoRipper because it has changed immensely over the last, I don't know, like what is it? 10 years, 9 years, 10 years, something like that.
It's 10 years
yeah,
now. 10 years so it's pretty crazy. Mini Trencher started as a handheld trenching distributing company, actually, of a chainsaw based handheld trencher. Looks like a big chainsaw. It was actually built on a chainsaw platform back then. About a year and a half into it, they went, this doesn't work. Let's switch over to a concrete saw, which they were successful with. And that's where GeoRipper actually came from. GeoRipper is, like I said, it's a handheld trenching tool. It does a minimum of 2 inches wide, can go all the way deep as 27 inches. And we've, for the last 8 years, have been distributing and selling and manufacturing the GeoRipper here in the United States to different degrees and different distributors throughout these years. And it's been crazy. What everybody will know is, what they don't know is that you had an instrumental hand in growing the business from its roots, as being one of the first in the wee little days when you would build GeoRippers in the warehouse.
Yeah,
and
the old days.
And then going on to marketing and all that sort of stuff. So GeoRipper has been around for in one form or another for over 10 years. We started out with Makita engines and had a great relationship with Makita. About 2.5 years ago, Makita stopped all their gas-powered engines, which were old Dolmars for those out there listening that were born before the 90s. And
back in
there's not that many of us, but they're there. I know they
back in the orange days. The orange days.
Back in the orange-red days, yeah. And so basically, in the last couple of years, we had to do some major just after COVID, if we're allowed to say the 5-letter, 4-letter word. We had to do some changes, and we did. We brought in. We had started manufacturing our own engine. So we have our own 2-stroke engine that fits all of our products now, and it's GeoRipper Green, which is the best part about it. We have made a new partnership with Greenworks Commercial, and now have an 82-volt GeoRipper that comes with an 8-amp-hour battery on it, which is nice. A great machine. It's really, if you want battery, we picked the right one. It's a great partnership. We really like it. We really like our new 2-stroke gas motor that we have as engine as well, because it just does phenomenal with what it needs to do. And then we have some other, we have our TA. That was actually, you helped us with that on developing the idea of taking someone's existing concrete saw and being able to, in 5 minutes, switch it into a GeoRipper and switch it back. So those are kind of the big things that we have going on the GeoRipper side. It's great for the landscape and irrigation guys. It's great for the electrical guys, the plumbers, that when they're doing it, it's for the small stuff. It's when you need a shovel. It's not for when you need a trencher, a ditch witch or a Vermeer or something like that, even a dingo. We can get into places as long as you got 2.5 inches worth of space, you can get into it. So it's and then you can go all the way to 27 inches deep. For some of the guys in the north, it's not always going to work for them in certain trades, but propane guys right now are really going crazy about it. The fence industry has really done great when it comes to gates and loops, and then service repairs for electrical, service repairs for plumbing. You just have to throw it in the back of a truck. You don't need a trailer. You don't need someone with expert knowledge to be able to use it, and away you go. So we're really proud of our flagship product with the GeoRipper handheld trenchers.
Well, and you guys have a great ability for a great usage for the erosion control folks as well. Putting in those fencings and everything else like that you see on the side of the roads. And the reason I bring that up is because right now they're putting a bunch of fiber optic in our area, and it's like chaos. They're digging up stuff everywhere, and a lot of it is done with the underground, but they still have a lot of trenchers out there. I've seen a lot of the big trenchers just chewing things up, but they have all of that fencing they're putting in, and a lot of guys I've seen, like 6 and 8 guys sitting there with shovels digging in those fences for the mitigation.
Yeah, the erosion control fencing is a tough one. It's an interesting one. We work really great with it. We're exactly the right width for the stake to fit down into the trench. So if you put ours in, the best practice when it comes to erosion control, I'm going totally technical here, but
go for
the
it.
the best practice is in order to put in erosion control fencing is that you actually have to cut like a 6-inch to 12-inch wide trench, because you have to lay the fabric back towards the construction site and then you have to bury it. But the reason why they do that is because they're digging such a big trench in the first place that they stake it and it doesn't really stand up very well, and they need it to stay, so they have to bury part of the silt fence because they're eroding it with water and all that. With ours, it's a 2-inch trench. The stake fits right into it, and then you just tuck the erosion control material down into the trench, even if you go a little deeper than what you have to go, which is like the 6 inches. I think will be best practice at some point in time. We haven't put a lot of effort into going after the industry to make us a best practice, but it looks so clean when it's done that we've been told from erosion control guys that they do it with ours, and no inspector ever questions whether or not it's going to hold up or not, because the stake is really firmly in the ground. The silt fencing is down deeper into the ground, so it's not coming out. It's a great way to go. We have pool guys that use our stuff. It's anytime you got to put something in the ground that you don't want to have to dig with a shovel, we're a great choice, as long as we're not going through solid rock or concrete or something like that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, exactly. And that was one of, the obvious things that we're not, it's not something where it's a saw where it's going to cut through every single thing on earth. It's made for places in replacement of shovel where you want to save the labor time. That's the biggest labor part of it, or the biggest saving is this labor part of the job aspect. When you look at it, as having 16, 18 guys doing it right now, I say that as an overestimate, but even 3-4 guys, you can have one guy on the GeoRipper doing all of these jobs where they come in, they cut it, and for many of our listeners, they don't understand the concept because they see it and they think, because I've talked to guys since I've been here in North Carolina, I've talked to guys and they say, well, you can't do that because you put the chainsaw in the ground and it dulls it. And I know this is an old school concept. I'm going way back to the early days of GeoRipper, but for the new listeners, please explain how that concept works, because
absolutely,
it looks like a chainsaw, so you know what I mean.
It does. It looks like a chainsaw. So if you guys aren't familiar with the mini trencher or the GeoRipper, I'm sorry, if you're not familiar with the GeoRipper, or more importantly, you are familiar with the chainsaw, that's what it looks like. It looks like a chainsaw. The only difference is that we like to have a little sag in the chain like a trencher. So first off, and two, our chain actually, instead of, you have to make a chainsaw chain really sharp. You go in and you grind all the teeth and you get them to the right angle and all that sort of stuff. And there's a science to that somebody else would have to tell you about, because I don't know. But I do know what my dad told me about a chainsaw, and it was probably yelling at me because I did it. Don't put your chainsaw in the dirt. It dulls the teeth, and then you can't cut through the log as well. Well, the first thing I told my dad when I started at Mini Trencher was, "Hey, Dad, look, I get to put chainsaws in the dirt for a living now." We have, and this is why we use a hardened steel tooth, and it's not sharp when you get it. It's as dull as the day is long, as they'd say back at the old duck tree house that I used to stay at.
Yes.
It's dull, but when you run it through the ground, the abrasives in the soil are actually going to add an edge to it, and it becomes a chipping tooth. And now it actually will chip through tree roots. We say up to 3 inches in diameter. I'll be honest with you guys. If it's 3 inches in diameter, you're trying to chip through it, it's the wrong tool. It's dig around it and actually cut it with something that makes a little more sense, especially if it's a hardwood like oak or something like that, or alder or something like that.
I'll still go with the 3-inch because I've done it plenty of times.
Well, I've done it too. It's just, anything bigger than that. And sometimes guys are like, well, yeah, I mean, I had a customer one time that wanted me to do a demo, and he wanted me to cut through a 6-inch tree root that was above the ground. It was like an old live oak or something. No. And I was like, no, I'm just going to take I'm going to rattle my fillings out trying to do this. There's only 14 teeth on the thing. The point is, though, is that that tooth gets an edge on it. It's not sharp. You're never going to get it so sharp that it will cut you necessarily, but it does a great job of chipping through tree roots or pulling up rocks. You and I, we both know we've been up on the top of a mountain in the Pacific Northwest, and all we did was go through rock for 45 minutes. And by we, I mean you did all the work. I just filmed it.
That was the worst day ever. Not because, and I don't say that was the worst day ever, is because the machine didn't work. It was just that was rough.
It was hot. It was a hot day.
Yeah.
It was nothing but cobble. There was very little dirt, and we bounced back and forth on cobble. I do remember getting a rock almost to the forehead because I was having to hold you up as we went down a 40-degree incline to get to the creek.
That was your payback for me doing all the trenching. That's what it was.
That was, I just made, and I drove, I think, too. So, that was nice. But,
no, that was. Well, and I rolled out of the truck at the end of the day.
Yeah, you couldn't move. But yeah, that's the thing is that I think that's something that a lot of people look at, too, and they're like, oh, my gosh, it's heavy. I mean, it weighs 35, 40 pounds. That's how much a GeoRipper weighs. And guys will turn around and go, oh, man, the thing's too heavy. Well, we've got a cart. Put it on the cart. Yeah. That'll take care of it. Well, it's going to rattle. It's going to rattle my teeth. It's going to vibrate. It's going to do all this sort of stuff. And it's like, listen, digging in the dirt is hard.
Yeah.
Nobody should ever take that away from anybody who digs in the dirt. It's hard. It doesn't matter what you're using. If you're using a backhoe, there's a reason why you're using a backhoe, is because you need to move a lot of dirt or a lot of soil or whatever you want to call it. But it's not easy. It never is easy. It just gets more dangerous the bigger you get. So, and people forget about that. With us, it's not any different. We're replacing a shovel. It increases the productivity. It increases the speed. And that saves you when it comes to labor and wear and tear on your body. It might vibrate more than a shovel, but guess what? You're only using it for 5 minutes instead of 25 or 45 minutes. So,
well, and that's what I was going to say with that part of it, that particular job we did that day. We did it in a day, well, half a day technically, and it was easily a 3-day job at least. If it would have been shovel and spade and pickaxe and all the other things going through that stuff, because we were up in the middle of the woods, we cut through all the roots. They weren't big ass tree roots like you were referring to earlier. They weren't above ground like things. It's not a chainsaw for the ground, but at the same time it is, because we were able to rip through a bunch of random ancillary roots, get down to where we need to do it all within a half a day, with a couple of breaks in between, where normally it would have taken at least 2 to 3 days to do the same job if you were talking, at the very least, with a shovel.
The guy with the mini excavator wouldn't even come up.
Oh, no, yeah, because, the area we were talking about, you can't do it on the incline. No way.
Yeah.
No way.
So we were the only option if it wasn't going to be a shovel. And so we were pretty excited about that. And we've done that for a lot of stuff. We did bamboo roots. We'll blast through the rhizomes. We've done curbs, a root barrier. We didn't even talk about root barrier. Root barrier is a huge thing. We do a great cut for that. There's just so many applications, and that's actually the crazy thing about it, is that it's kind of like a hammer. where everything starts to look like a nail once you have one in your hands. But my favorite thing that my national sales manager has started telling people, and it seems to hit home, is if they're a contractor already, what if we can add? And we talk to a lot of landscape and irrigation guys, so it's a little bit skewed to that. But what if I can add one extra job a week to your schedule?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my gosh. And then we talk to the dealers, and it's the same thing. What if we can add one extra job a week to your customer's schedule? How much product do they end up coming in and buying more per week because they're doing one extra job or two extra jobs a week? And it's a labor saver. There's no doubt about it when it comes to comparing it to shovels.
Well, and what if you can add one less trailer? You know, because when I'm looking at sending out our crews, I have to say, okay, well, we have these amount of trailers, these amount of trucks. What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? We have, like, how do we figure this out? With the GeoRipper, you don't have to have a trailer. You don't have to have that trencher on a trailer. You throw it in a truck, and so that mitigates that part. You no longer you don't need that.
You don't
trailer.
even need a truck.
That's what I'm saying.
You need a kid with a Honda Civic, and you're good to go. I stuck a 20-inch GeoRipper and its cart into the trunk of a Miata, and did video on it. So much to the chagrin of the owner of the company, but it's he was funny.
Not that one.
Yeah,
you put my.
I put a 720 and a collapsed Easy Cart into the trunk of the owner's Miata. And I took a video of it. It was a great video. That's what he gets for letting me borrow it for a week.
Yeah,
it was good.
That's what you get. But no, seriously, that's the thing. When you look at the logistics of it, that's the other part of it. You don't have to have a trailer to go do an install job on whether it's irrigation, lighting, anything else like that. Drainage. It mitigates all of those. You can have a guy who has a work van. It doesn't even have to be a truck. It can be a work van.
Yeah.
Driving around where he doesn't have to have that trailer where you hook up that trailer and have to drive that around just for that one job. You can hop out and do the job, be done.
And the one of the things that I think is the greatest thing about it is we tell people, look, it doesn't replace a big trencher. It's not going to replace a walk behind, all that sort of stuff, but it can. So let's say you're just starting out. And you can't, and you're an irrigation professional, or you want to be an irrigation professional, and you're just starting out in the industry, and let's say you've been mowing lawns and doing the weeding and all that sort of stuff, and the natural progression is, I'm going to go into irrigation. I'll at least do repairs or something like that. Well, and this is the great thing, and I might shoot myself in the foot later on. For as low as $2,000. You can actually you can have a trencher that will go 16 inches deep with a GeoRipper. And now you can do head movement, and you can add a new zone to a customer's, and you can add a whole new line of business. You've got to learn how that works, but if you have the knowledge to be able to figure it all out, you don't have to just be the guy who mows lawns anymore. You can be the guy who mows lawns and adds a zone as a service that maybe you don't do it all the time, but you can do it now, and that sort of stuff. So I'm excited about that because we've seen a lot of young contractors be able to increase their market share because they bought the smallest basic one that they had and did a great job with it. So really proud of that.
Well, and you guys have because you're always innovating. I almost said we are always innovating.
Once team mini trencher, always team mini trencher.
Seriously. But you guys are always innovating. You also brought on, because I want to talk about Equip also, because this is part of our Equip lead-in thing. But leading into Equip, you have a new, not a company, but a new side aspect that actually leads into GeoRipper, and I think that's why you did this, because it makes sense for it, but it also expands to so many different industries. And here on Boots on Ground Radio, we've expanded to everybody who has boots on ground. So let's talk a little bit about your other tool that you guys have been selling, your SiBore.
The SiBore drill horizontal auger. That's the official name all the way across there. But SiBore drill is a great product. As I said, it's a horizontal auger, and that kind of explains itself on what it does. We dig under things that are hard. That's the catchphrase. That's the logo for it. Is we dig under things that are hard. So if you've got a sidewalk, curb stop, small patio, a single car width garage driveway, this thing will be able to bore right underneath it. It's a great way to go about it. It's a 8-year-old product itself, which is amazing. Patented by a gentleman in Ohio who was an underground guy the reason why he invented it was because he kept running into sidewalks when he was putting in drainage for his downspouts. Customers would call up, say, I want to put in a dry well or something like that and run all my downspouts to it. And there'd be a sidewalk in the way. And he'd be like, what do I do? And he'd cut the concrete. Well, anybody who's cut concrete and then poured concrete again in the same spot knows that concrete's not the same color. It's never the same color, it seems like. So what would he have? He'd have the job done, but he'd have a customer not completely satisfied because now he's got a sidewalk that's not really the same color for whatever reason it may be, whether it's, Quickcrete bag was not what was used. It was poured from the local concrete place, all that sort of stuff. So,
sure.
So he invented the SiBore drill. SiBore drill's comes in 2 different types of models. It comes in a 4-stroke and a battery-powered unit. We actually use a Makita battery-powered unit from our long-standing relationship with Makita. This XGT 40-volt max unit is amazing. It does everything that they say it does, and it specs out almost exactly like the 35cc Honda 4-stroke motor that we use on the gas-powered one.
Yeah, the 40 volt is amazing.
It's a game changer. It really is.
Lasts forever, and it has the torque.
It does have the torque, and the Makita has the Makita's got the torque to do it, and it's just like, and the nice thing is it has a reverse button on it, which the transmission for the Honda doesn't. It has a free lock, so it can go in neutral basically, but it doesn't have a reverse onto it, which we'll talk about why that's good and bad maybe in a little bit. We'll see if we have. But basically, we have we have 3 models, but there's basically 2 models. There's our micro bore, which does 1.25 inch bore. So 1-inch PVC or poly will go right through that. Direct bury cable, you name it. Just anything less than 1 inch will go through that. It even comes with a wire pull so that when you get to the other side, you can actually take the bore tip off and put the swivel on for the wire loop and then pull everything right back out the way you came and get your wire put in at the same time if it's direct bury. And then the other model, which is the more traditional model, is our SB216, which comes with a 2-inch and a 4-inch diameter auger. But we also have accessory for 3-inch, 6-inch, and 8-inch augers if you want to get really big.
Oh, 8-inch. Okay.
So, yeah, 8-inch. 8-inch is a lot. I mean, you need to be pretty deep below in order to do an 8-inch. But if you need a culvert in or something like that, you can put an 8-inch culvert in without a problem. All of our augers are slightly oversized. So when I say 2-inch, you're going to get a 2-inch pipe Schedule 40 in there without a problem.
That's what you can actually insert as opposed to what the actual auger size is.
Yeah, they all come in a little oversized. And then, you get some vibration, just like with our Geo Ripper, where you get some vibration, get a little more trench than you need to. So we're really excited about it. The gentleman that had them was building them out of his garage, out of Dayton, Ohio,
as they all
on
do.
a farm. And he made like 30 of them a year, advertised in a couple of magazines, went to Equip almost every year until COVID happened. And then he got old enough he wanted to retire, or really his wife wanted to retire him. And so we bought the product from him. Yeah. She was done.
That's the way it
what
does. Yeah, that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes.
He would have gone forever, but she was like, nope, you're going to take me on vacations now. You're 65. So anyway, so we bought it from them, and we quadrupled the sales in just the first 12 months. And for most of that, we were still learning how to build them. So it was really it was like October of last year until about April that we sold the majority of our first year's worth of products. And they're great. We've done a lot of changes. We added the battery product, which is great. Now you can use it if you want to in a crawl space or a basement, along with the battery powered GeoRipper, which we didn't talk about before, but that adds drainage for crawl spaces.
I was just going to take a moment to go back to that part, because I was going to ask you that, and thank you for bringing that up. So because the battery tech, I know years ago, I sounded like it's like 20 years ago. A couple of years ago,
2.5 years ago,
a battery one because the crawl space and other areas that we needed to figure out how to not have the gasoline, that exhaust happening in small crawl spaces. So talk a little bit about how you guys have figured that part out.
Well, you got to commend Makita, really, more than anything. We don't even use a Makita power head for this, but Makita went all in. I mean, Makita's always been a battery company. Okay, that's what they were. They had gas powered stuff, but they're a battery company with some gas stuff. And when they dropped all of their gas products and said, we're going to go straight battery, they did it 2 years before everybody else was even on the battery kick. And it was a little scary. I talked to some people at Makita about it, and they were like, especially the guys that were in equipment, like the concrete saws, they were like, I don't know what they're doing. I don't understand. I don't necessarily understand what the vision is and why you would take something that's such a good, our gas products that were good products,
right, and
just drop them. It took a year. It took a year for all those guys to turn around and go, I get it now. They brought out that XGT system, the 40 volt max system, which gave them it. If I go really technical, it uses a different battery cell, a different cell. It's a bigger cell, so you actually get more bang for your buck. So even though it's only 4 amp hours and says it's 40 volt max, it's really 36 volts. Don't tell anybody. But
I won't. I swear we won't. We share.
Thank you. Don't tell anybody. You guys, listeners at home, don't tell anybody that I said that. Okay. It's 40 volt max because it can do a max of 40 volts. Yeah, but Makita had come out with, and we're not the Makita company, but I know the stuff. They had the double 18 volt stuff. I mean, I have a lawnmower that's a Makita lawnmower, and it's double 18 volt. That's how it works. I've
got some power tools that are double. Yeah,
and they're great. Oh, yeah. They get 36 volts instead of 18 volts. But the 40 volt max is just better, even though it's putting the same voltage out. It's just the amp hours are better. The watts you get out of it is just you get more work out of it. And it's a bigger cell that they use in those battery packs. And that's kind of why. Now, go the next step. Our GeoRipper is an 82 volt system. And this is the cool thing. I'm geeking out right now, guys.
Go for it. Geek out.
I'm going battery powered.
I wish I had a geek out. I don't know. So I'll add a thing.
You can geek out in a minute. Yeah. Let me geek out first.
No, I meant a sound effect for the geek out.
The geeking out on it is that 82 volt system has an 8 amp hour battery on it. But more importantly, is that all of our gas powered engines that we've ever used uses a drive belt. It's got a drive belt on it, which is great because if you get a rock jam, that gas powered motor is not going to stop running. It's going to keep running, and it breaks the belt, and you save the motor, and everything's great. The Greenworks one has a drive shaft. It is a solid drive shaft on this thing, and so it gets all of the power, all the torque, and all the power that comes from that electric motor goes straight to your chain in order to be able to use it. So it moves fast, it digs hard, and if you get a rock jam, it's a battery powered. It's it's an electric motor. It's just magnets spinning around a coil. I mean, it just keeps spinning. It doesn't care. It doesn't matter. It just gets hot, which is, stop. Don't just keep doing it. It'll get too hot. But yeah, you don't want that. But at the same time, you don't have to risk hurting the motor as much as you do with the other one. And a rock jam's not as big of a deal, which I just think is cool. It's really neat that they did that. We tested it out a lot. It works great, and we're really proud of it. So, but we were talking about SiBore drill. Unless you had something you needed to geek out about.
So I'm like, I can't wait to get to the outside. Okay, so let's take this because we'll transition. Let's go back over, but I'm geeking out about this thing. For those who are listening, how do they find the booth? Because they can try this out. They can try
absolutely
both out,
all of it,
both out, yeah.
All of it,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have everything at our booth at Equip, and so it's what is that? It's October 16th, 17th, and 18th, or something like that.
Yeah, like 10 days away.
Yeah, if you want to talk to me, you got to come inside. Okay, I'm in the indoor booth, and I'm at the indoor booth is booth number 2036. We're in the main big hall. And we're at 2036, and the outdoor booth, we've got a 50 by 50 outdoor booth. We've got all of our products out there, both on display and to be used for the most part. I mean, if you wanted to use one that we didn't have out to be used, it'd be sitting on the table right there, and you say, hey, can I try that one? Spoiler alert, they all work the same. You don't need to do that. But it's 6106D. We're right there with SCAG. We're right there at the corner of the building, kind of where the building turns. If you haven't been there before and you're going this year, this will make more sense when you're actually there. But and we're real close to the what do you call it? The first aid booth. Yeah, there's also
that. Yeah, when you come into first, yeah.
We're kind of like we're GIE and HNA kind of split is where we're at. So.
That's what I was going to say. You're right on the kind of the borderline of that. And anybody listening, just hit me up with the text, whatever. You guys got all the information. Make it happen. We can hit the GeoRipper booth. We'll be there. We'll be there.
Yeah, we're really excited to have Boots on Ground Radio at our booth. So we'll definitely have a table for you guys at the indoor booth because we'll have power there, and then you guys will be out at the outdoor booth, I'm sure, a bunch. Yeah. Just because, why wouldn't you? It's fun.
Yeah, no. But the thing I love most about being the biggest reason I wanted to cover this is because the before and after. The before and after is the best part where people come and for those listening, I have seen this literally firsthand, having been there and showing them how to work the machine. They say, okay, well, it's not going to work in my area, or it's not going to do this, whatever, everything you could possibly think of. And then they run it, and that look in the eye, JJ, you've seen that look where they run it for even like 2 feet, and they kind of look up and go, "Oh shit!" Like this is
it's kid in the candy store. It's just like the mind. It's funny, we've got pretty paper brochures. We've got videos that we've done. People like our videos. If you haven't seen our Australia commercial for GeoRipper, or better yet, if you haven't seen the misspoken wife commercials for SiBore drill yet, go check those out. I think you'll love them. But more importantly, the silly thing about all of it is that SiBore drill's easy compared to GeoRipper. I mean, it's amazing when we brought it on. It was like, we don't even have to demo it. Guys look at it, and once they know what it does, they're just like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I could use that. Or I never do that at all, so I won't need it. And it's really easy. It's a yes or no. We did the utility show last year, which is also in Louisville. And we had guys who were there specifically to buy backhoes and large Vermeers and stuff like that. And they came up and they went, "What is that?" That was their first question, because they didn't know, obviously. And we told them, and they'd go, "Oh, I've got 10 projects right now I could use that for." Because why would I take a trailer out with a large boring machine to go underneath the sidewalk if I don't need to? And so that's kind of the exciting thing about that. But with GeoRipper, it's productivity, and you can't. It's so hard to convey productivity over even a video, because it's always the same thing. Well, that soil's super easy to dig through, or those guys don't know how to dig in the first place that were digging against you, which they didn't. They're marketing guys. They don't know how to dig. You're right. They're marketing execs. In fact, we had one commercial. Yeah, we did. We had one commercial. I've got one commercial that we use, and the three guys that are digging, two of them work for the marketing company and like are directors and producers for the marketing company. And the other guy was a semi-pro football player. He could dig, but the other two guys, they didn't really know how to dig. And so people, I mean, if you're in the trade and you dig for a living and you watch a guy dig and you go, what is that guy doing? He's not digging. He thinks he's digging, but he's not digging. Shout out to Kevin Battistoni, because he's really got people over at Hunter. Yeah. Over at Hunter, we did Man versus GeoRipper for 2 years straight, where he actually competed against us by having us both dig 50 feet, like 6 inches, 8 inches deep, like an irrigation line. And we beat him every time, by the way. But it's that productivity. And yeah, it's just like, oh my gosh, once they get it in their hands or they watch you do it, you literally, I've literally walked away with the machine and had guys chasing after me going, wait, what about the rest of my project? And we end up selling the demo to them because they can't wait at that point in time. It's how fast can I get it? Not any of the questions like, how much does it cost? Which it costs way less these days in the first place. Like I said, you can start as low as under $2,000, and even our biggest one is under $3,000 now. So it's kind of cool on that matter.
Well, and that's,
I got excited.
No, go for it. I mean, you got excited, but I'm excited too. And I the whole time you were talking, I was like, I need to make sure that I'm not saying that I'm part of the company anymore because I am. I'm still a part of the company, guys.
We still talk about you. We do.
Like I am GeoRipper through and through. I love it. For those listening, I was a member of the company for years, and I love it. I love everything about it. I will always preach GeoRipper. So don't think that I don't. Like, this is some weird, I don't know, interview thing where where we are trying to just promote products. I absolutely believe in it. I absolutely believe in it. I wish
Speaking of which, how's Frankie?
Frankie is doing good.
Okay, good.
Frankie is
all right. While he laughs, no.
Well, no,
I'm going to tell you guys. So
I'm getting a little choked up here. So go ahead. Oh,
so Frankie is a GeoRipper, and he was one of the first ones. And our good friend here. Are you going by Russell? Or are you going by Hecubus? What are you going by these days?
Either way, brother.
Okay. So Recubus. Or Hustle, one or the other. Hustle, I like that. We're going to call you Hustle from now on. I like that. That's good.
There we go.
Anyway, he took one home to do some videos with, and he kept using it and kept demoing with it and do some landscape work with it, and he'd break a piece on it. And so it was an old Dolmar version of it. So it was red and orange, the red-orange color that Dolmars were. Well, you couldn't buy any of those plastic pieces, so he had to replace them with Makita pieces because it was an identical engine at the time. And so slowly, this Dolmar engine became a Makita engine, and so he just kept Frankensteining this thing together and keep it going. So we named it Frankie. He's got bottle caps all over the belt cover, and I mean, it's just bedazzled to no belief. I think your daughter's probably helped with that a little bit. But
definitely.
So anyway, when he left the company, we didn't have the heart to take it back from him. And so I was told he still has it, but now I'm starting to think that maybe he lost custody.
No, I still have it.
Okay.
I still have it.
Okay. It's a good product.
Yeah. No.
Go buy two.
anybody out there listening, this is not a paid advertisement. Uh, if you need to do a trench, I have done. I have done I've done a 48-inch trench with the one from the shop.
Yes.
But I have literally laid a 36-inch trench with a 24-inch blade, just widening it out, getting it into there, doing the things you need to do. And I'm not saying like, okay, this is what you should do with it or anything of that matter. I'm saying if you are questioning what this tool can do, I have used it. I've used it in the mountains of Washington State where I was cutting through tree roots, far beyond what JJ was saying earlier, were the recommended ability of this machine, and it cut through like a chainsaw, going through a gravel driveway, all the other things that you could possibly imagine it can do. And I'm not saying, and I don't say I'm not using this as a, I don't know, whatever guarantee, I guess would be the thing of,
Yeah, the
you know,
the views of
like,
Headcubist do not necessarily no.
yeah. No, well, I'm just saying, like I've used this machine. I'm not saying I guarantee it. So if you buy one tomorrow and you're like, well, Hecubus said this, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm saying in my personal usage of this machine, I can tell you that I have dropped a 36-inch line, a fiber optic slash drainage slash, what was it? The other thing, there was three different lines I dropped across a driveway in the woods of Washington State, where I was on a 40% incline, coming down from a house, going across a gravel drive into a fucking olive orchard. Like, it was the craziest job I've ever done with this thing, but literally I did it with a georipper in 1.5 days in the middle of the woods where you couldn't have. I had to hike up into that property because it was in there was a cabin that they wanted me to do these lines into, so you couldn't drive into. You had to hike to this cabin. There was no roads, no anything. The only way to do it was with the georipper. I wish I would have had a SiBore because then I could have done the under the gravel friggin' driveway with that. Instead of cutting through.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we're really excited about what it
I
changes with
just
the SiBore drill. It's great.
you guys have changed the game in what it takes to be able to do what would have been a trailer job and changed it to here's everything on a truck without a trailer to do
Yeah.
that, especially in
Thanks.
small areas because in here since I've since I have moved to North Carolina, there are so many communities here where they do the like the kind of the micro mansions, as I call them, but
Oh,
the
okay.
where you have a side by side where you can hand a cup of sugar through the
Yeah.
window, and they ask for irrigation, they ask for lighting, they ask for all these different things, and you can't bring a big piece of equipment into that aspect, and to be able to have something like SiBore or GeoRipper, it's it's a game changer, especially with both of those combined. So are you guys in the same booth at Equip Expo, or are you separate?
No, we're together. So it's the Mini Trencher booth. So if you go looking on like the exhibitor lists at or in their app at Equip, you're going to look for Mini Trencher. One word, Mini Trencher. But like I said, we're right up there up front when you walk in the doors through the what do they call that?
I think it's the main
The
hall.
West or
The main
something.
hall,
It's the main
basically.
hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the main hall. So you'll find us, and if you don't, it's in the next 3 days you'll find us anyway because hopefully you're going through the whole place and checking everything out. But we got a big 20 by 20 booth inside 2036, and then outdoors we're right next to Skag, and it's 6106 D as in David or dog or Delta, depending on. That's kind of cringy what I just did there, but whatever. Um, we're really excited about it, one
I'll
way or
edit,
the other.
I'll edit that out or not. Either way.
Yeah, and you can find now. Now we're huge on social media, so
Yeah.
go check. Go find us on social media. It's all over the place. The marketing manager we had at the time didn't feel like we needed to have the same name everywhere. I'm not saying that was you, Heck.
wow.
I'm just saying that.
Damn.
I'm just saying that it was you.
Calling me out at the last minute.
I'm just calling you out here. Yeah, edit that out, whatever. But you can find us for everything. You can find us at minitrencher.com, but you can also find us at georipper.com or SiBoreDrill.com. But make sure to put the drill on there. SiBore is not, I don't know where that goes.
The SiBore, so spell that out for us because I want
to because a lot of people think we're saying cyborg, like the
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like the movie.
Like a robot thing. Yeah. It's SiBore, like side bore. So SIB as in boy, ORE drill, SiBore drill, and you can find it online or at your favorite dealer that carries it.
And they'll be able to test out both of those at GIE.
Equip.
Equip.
They call it Equip now. I don't know if you know this. I call it GIE all the time too.
I will never call it Equip. I mean, other than certain areas, but I will always, in conversation, call it Equip because that's what it was or is.
Yeah. I think you just misspoke again, but that's okay. It's not a big deal.
Equip.
Equip. It is Equip.
Yes. It's
good. It's okay. It's okay. It's fine. It's 5 o'clock in the morning somewhere, so you're probably tired.
Yes.
So you can come see us at that. You can go check us out on the website and see all the videos and all that sort of stuff. Follow us, love us on the social medias, basically all of them. You can find us sooner or later, either under GeoRipper or SiBore Drill. But we're really excited to host you, Boots on Ground Radio, for Equip.
And you can find good Lord, that one word that I can't ever say, specific.
Oh, there you go.
They can find both of those on the same space versus
GeoRipper and SiBore Drill will both be at the same location at Equip, at indoors at 2036 and outdoors at 6106D, and you can find them all. You can find them all there. It's limited demoing with the SiBore Drill just because of how much space it takes in order to be able to actually show it, to demo it. But I think we got a good plan on what we're going to do, and then you can dig all over the place with the GeoRipper.
So with the SiBore, is it hands-on? Is it going to be hands-on there, or is it going to be a matter of
it'll be a little bit of both.
Every 15 minutes we have a demonstration. You know what I'm saying?
It's going to be a little bit of both. I mean, the right guy comes in and wants to do it. We certainly want them to be able to handle it and touch it. Like I said, we're going to have an area where people can feel it and touch it, use it as much as we can. Did you like how we said fondle it, caress it?
I can't. Sorry, man. I just,
You're just all over the place. This is what happens when the Hecubus and the duck get together, man. It's just everything goes off the rails.
Don't worry. I'll edit this part out, but So make sure to come by the booth, obviously, because we'll be there. We will be there in the and is it okay? Actually, this is something I want to ask you about while we have everyone on the air.
Putting me on the spot.
If they want to look for, well, no, it's not that hard of a question. If they want to look for the GeoRipper booth. Is it under Mini Trencher or GeoRipper as far as
it's under Mini Trencher in the Equip official documentation.
Yeah, that's why I want to make sure.
So you'll find it. I have it. Let me see here. I have the website open right now. but let me check and see what happens if I.
I just want to make sure because I don't want to say look for the Georipper booth and it's under mini trencher
No,
and they can't
yeah,
find
you
it.
want to
So,
look for the
yeah.
want to look for the mini. Yeah, if you when you get the app, if you go looking for Georipper or you go looking for SiBore drill, you're not going to get anything. It's the search results not going to happen. So you want to look for mini trencher, and like I said, mini trencher is one word: MINITRENCHER, and you can find us there. We'd love to see you.